Welcome back to another Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series in the Yambani Chronicles. I am joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey everybody.
He is the illustrator and creator of the Eve of Insurrection comic, as well as the graphic artist and illustrator for the Ancient Illumination graphic novels, the soon to be released Yambani Chronicles comic, and Jericho's Bane comic by Arrow J. Knight. Today, we are getting into Elden Ring. It's been a hot topic lately amongst gamers and non-gamers alike, because some feel that games should be for everybody, and I guess most of the fans of the series are like, nah, this ain't for everybody.
It's not. It's not.
You have to be able to get down with these games and kind of get into it. I'm a noob, just to let everybody know. I'm fresh on the scene. Not as far as gaming's concerned. I've been gaming I've been a long, long time. But as far as the Dark Souls, I never played Dark Souls 1, 2, or 3. I did not try the Bloodborne game, and I barely touched Sekiro when that came out from Software and Activision. The elephant in the room, obviously, with most people is going to be the difficulty. The game is not easy. It's hard, purposefully so. I believe
It's
it's
rage
meant to
quit
be hard.
worthy.
Yeah. Um, but there is a class system. There are a bunch of different classes you can choose from, which basically all of them seem to be like a baseline you start with, and then you kind of develop as you upgrade. There's an upgrade system for your weapons, your magic, all that. It's within a sprawling fantasy world. I have no other comparisons really to give it to as far as um, the Dark Souls games themselves. I don't know how expansive they were. And Jordan, later on, you can
Yeah,
comment on
yeah, yeah,
how
yeah.
expansive they were in comparison. Um, there's a linear aspect to the game. As most of you that have played Dark Souls are familiar with the bonfires, well,
Mm-hmm.
here they have these grace points, which are like the bonfires basically. And some of the video you see playing in the background, you can see like here, they're just a quick flash of the map right there. There are these little golden spots that you've basically unlocked, these save points, and some of them have these golden trails. I guess that's called the grace, basically telling you what direction to go in the game. I recommend that more for the veterans of the series, and for the newbies of this series, at least how I took it on my approach as a newbie, I go more the non-linear route to stay in areas that I belong in, that I get appropriate power
You
levels.
belong in? What's that supposed to be?
Well,
I'm a
because you can get sucked into this game and trapped in areas where you're not supposed to be, mainly because
power level.
you get whooped up on as
You're
soon as
like,
you
Bob. Oh, I just walked in here by accident. A giant bear shows up. I don't
yeah,
want to
that
fight
actually
this. That happened
yeah,
to me in the beginning. When I
that
came
happened
back,
to
I was
me.
ready.
Yeah, and it seemed like I don't know, homie, the big old bear just materialized in front of me on this cliffside. I'm like, there was no way for him to come. All of a sudden, he was just there, one swipe, and that was a wrap. You died, thing comes up on the screen, which is
Yep.
hilarious. It takes a while to get used to, I think, and that's part of the problem. And some people just don't have, I don't know, it's not really mental fortitude or the patience,
Patience. It's
really,
patience. You got to have
because you're going to
patience.
die repeatedly, and there's no getting around that. That's going to happen. Um, and some people don't like that. So there's been the argument of there needs to be a difficulty toggle. It's like, no, because I feel like you rob yourself if you do that. Because I did not truly get this game really until I started beating bosses and beating them on my own. You get this
Yeah.
rush and this kind of
That adrenaline.
feeling of elation after fun, especially after you ain't got whooped so many times.
30
Yeah,
times. You died 30 times and you finally get that one where you're
you
like,
finally get it.
yes,
You're like, yes, yeah, it's
yes.
crazy. But I like it. I like the fantasy world that they've introduced to us, even though some parts of that may be a little lacking given
Hmm.
who was behind it, and we'll go and talk about that later. Um, but that's the basis for me. I'm new. I guess until like and the co-op aspect of the game is interesting as well.
Yeah, that part's fun. This
That
is
is
my
that
first time doing co-op as a veteran to the series, so.
And that's what kind of takes it up a notch for me.
Mhm.
To me, I'm gonna kind of spoil things for the end. It gives to me it's really like a 7 or 8, but when you add the co-op factor, it kind of elevates it some because I have more fun playing with you, um, and playing with other people, doing things, running around, and having someone with you, I guess, through the misery of getting one shot, and having someone
Did you
else that,
see me get hit once?
yeah,
Die
that
instantly?
the
Yeah.
understanding, having that
Yep.
understanding of what you're going through as you're going through it together kind of elevates this game in ways that other games just don't.
Mhm.
Um, your thoughts?
Where to start? I was gonna First of all, I was gonna ask you. You should tell people about your character, what their name is,
Uh,
what's your preferred build. Like, how are you like as a noob? How are you playing the game
I
now? What's your
started
type?
with
What's
the
your strategy?
confessor. I started as a
Okay.
confessor class mainly because I liked the look of the confessor,
Mhm.
and I also wanted to have the ability to melee, but I wanted magic at the same time for things I want to try and
Okay.
distance. So I felt like when I looked through them, that looked like kind of a mix of both. One's not straight unga bunga barbarian, just melee, got to get up close all the time. But I could do that if I want to. But if I want to sit back and try and chuck some magic at something that's a little too powerful for me, then I could try and do that as well. And I ain't got no shame in my game. If I find a cheese, I'm gonna use it. So if magic is part of that, I'm not one of
All
those
right. Okay.
prideful guys that are like, no, we have to melee everything. We're not new using cheesy magic.
We're not gonna spam overpowerful magic. No, no.
Yeah, no.
Use that magic. Do what you got to do. There's no shame here. There's no shame here.
Yeah, I find something. I'm going with, yeah, Confessor, and I named since I'm a kind of an OG, I named my boy Cleophas. I mean,
Okay. Okay.
he's
That's
an
the thing.
OG kind
Cleophas,
of,
OG.
yeah, Confessor, faith-based magic. I think I got my faith up to like 20, but to get
Mhm.
I guess more powerful spells, I have to up both my intelligence and my faith higher than
And
that.
sometimes your arcane or whatever, arcana, arcane magic, that other
Yeah,
thing. It's a lot of different aspects. I feel like it wasn't that difficult in the last few games where like you really just need to boost up your intelligence. But now it's like you have to boost up 3 sections just to like use certain magic. So it's a lot. And so for me coming into this game, I'm kind of used to the combat system.
hmm,
I miss the raging. That's the
yeah,
main that's the reason I play for that. When I was playing Dark Souls 2 in college, I played this game for the heart attacks, for the mini heart attacks, where it was just like the anxiety, the heart beating fast, the rage, and then when you finally get that win, it's that kind of rush.
yeah.
And so I kind of knew what time I was on. This game it feels it's way more expansive than the last ones.
Okay,
Because I played Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne. I played a little bit of the original Demon Souls.
okay,
Um, and so those games are relatively, in a way, they were kind of linear. In a way where it's like this game is very much like open world. It feels more open world because we finally have a horse that you can travel along, so it's
yeah,
like easier for you to actually explore more. So it's more exploration in this game, which I enjoy a lot. It keeps me from kind of following the main course of like slaying the demon. What are the gods?
yeah.
Um,
The
and
demigods, yeah,
demigods. So I'm kind of just getting lost in exploration, just trying to find different weapons before I go and fight a boss nowadays. But yeah, first of all, I love the game, love the series. It's I like I said, I play it for boss battles. I play it for the boss battles and weapons,
yeah,
and the experience of losing so many times and finally getting that win.
yeah.
And so my character, if you can see the video, my character name's Amina, named after the warrior queen. Um, from like the 16th century in
Okay,
Nigeria. So I named her warrior. I named her Mina. And so usually when I play, I feel like I'm more magic based. But
okay.
this time I try to kind of like, in a sense, dual wield where like I'm actually more focused on like strength and carrying bigger weapons.
Yeah, you got
Um,
that big ass pin, that wheel
yeah,
thing.
yeah, the
That's
Giza
kinda,
wheel. That thing is wild. That thing is wild. But the Giza's wheel, and so I'm starting to use more weapons like that because when I would play Dark Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, those games, I would kind of go for like a more like I would use like a just a regular straight sword, or like a normal one-handed weapon,
Yeah.
and then a magic. But now I find myself going for like a great sword or like more bigger weapons because I'm starting to realize that like it helps you with
Mhm.
repos, and when you're able to like basically if you hit them hard enough, they will basically kind of they will go into the stun animation, and then you could like basically get this like extra hit and it does a lot of damage. And so I kind of use that now because I
Mhm.
wasn't think I like usually it would be just get backstabs. Like you can just walk up on people, get a backstab, boom, knock them out. Doof, blood start flying everywhere. Sound effect gets intense.
Yeah.
Um, and so now I go for heavy hits. I try to get them heavy hits in, and then get a repost, and then just follow up.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, right now I have Amina. She's at level 68. I got a few I'm mostly using a few incantations, so I have like my heals. I got this I got a what is it called? I think it's called the Great Flame Sling or something. Like I can throw a fireball.
I have that one.
You have that one. And before I was using this drag. I could summon this dragon that could like basically breathe fire. And
The
like
dragon head,
yeah,
yeah.
the dragon head. You and Dylan made fun of me for that, I recall. Because of the slow build up on it, but I'm like, it's worth it. Just trust me, it's worth it. And
If you get your dexterity up, it won't be as much of a slow buildup.
right. And then also this game has another extra kind of caveat of like you can summon spirits,
Mhm.
which is really dope. And they didn't have that before. So like I'm using this I think I'm using the spirit. He's like the great king Oleg or great knight Oleg.
Okay.
Um and basically yeah, it's called the Banished Knight Oleg, and so basically, when I summon him, he's just fast, and he has two big swords, and he's mollywopping, and then he summons kind of a tornado to get like kind of a wider attack, and that's my go-to guy now. So I just use him whenever I'm
Mm.
in the middle of a boss battle, or I'm in certain crazy territories. Like right now, I was fighting in a place where they have these giant spider hands, the most
Oh my god, those
terrifying
things are weird.
most terrifying thing in the world. Why would you ever make this? It only works in this game. And so though I had the banished knight Oleg with me, just fighting these creatures that were just mad annoying that would just pop out the ground. I'm like, yo, I hate this, but it's part of the game. It's part of the game.
Yeah. The nonlinear part of it is what I think helps. It can help. I think it can be monotonous and get boring because you're grinding the
Mhm.
same things over and over again. But it helps in that it allows you to kind of move around, kill a lot of similar enemies, to save up your runes, to be able to kind of
Right, right.
basically build up your, to raise your build up. Like
Yeah.
you have to put your runes into certain aspect of your character if you want to be a strength build, and you're going to have to level up. And as you level up, it takes more and more amounts of runes. That's what you get when you kill certain characters that you meet throughout the game. But say it takes you 1,500 runes to level up. After you've leveled up, now it's going to take you 1,000 to 2,000 to level up,
Yep.
3,000 and 4,000, and pretty soon, like I'm at the point now, I'm at level 50, so it takes me over 15,000 runes to level up
Right.
one
Yeah.
thing. So it becomes like
It's a grind.
what's it, diminishing returns. You get to the point of diminishing
Yeah.
returns where
Mm.
you can't level up but so far. It takes you so much, and then it becomes crazier when you like die and you lose that 7,000 runes. You're like, oh, I was only halfway to having enough to level. I got to go back and get them.
Right. See, me and you over here sweating over 7 to 10,000 souls. We got other people out here to be like, "Oh, you can make that back." Like, what are you talking about? I worked hard for them seven,
I'm
ten
getting them.
thousand runes. No, I got to get them back. I
I'm getting them, and I'm running from whatever killed me, but I'm getting
exactly,
runes back.
Gotta run. Gotta sprint through dodge.
Yeah,
Um,
it's crazy.
yeah, I met a dude. I met a dude this weekend at a convention. He's level 190. I'm like, bro, I
He's no life in it.
yeah.
This is
Like,
all
how
we
they
do.
just say exactly, that's all we do. I was like, "Yo, that's wild." And he was explaining something to me because 'cause I've never actually, like, leveled that far into the game. Like, I don't even remember if I ever passed level 80 or not or 100.
Okay.
But he said once you get to a certain point in the game, every time you level up,
Hmm.
the margin at which you kind of, like, your health will increase by, or like your resistance or strength, that will
Yeah.
start to diminish the higher level you get. So like, let's say I level up, let's say I'm level 20, and I level up one point to my strength or health, and it gives me like 20 points of health or 10 points of health.
Mhm.
If I'm like level 100, if I level up one time, it's probably only going to give me like 4 points of health. Like it starts to even like decrease as you get higher and higher. So I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't know that." I'm like, I mean, it makes sense. You
Yeah.
can't just be walking around this game level 190, 180, having ridiculous health. Well, your health's already ridiculous at that point, but it's like there's no reason for you to keep getting the same type of benefits. So it made sense to balance itself out. So I'm like, that's cool. If I
Yeah.
ever get to 190 in this game, sure. I don't foresee it though. I don't
Let's
foresee
take
it.
a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about the story and some of the boss fights and other things that have brought us enjoyment from playing this game and watching. We'll back in a second. And welcome back to the second half of Askari Cast. My name is Rod Van Blake, author of the Ancient Illumination series and the Umbani Chronicles, joined once again by Jordan Purnell Jackson.
Hey, everybody.
And we are continuing our discussion on Elden Ring. One interesting thing that I saw, and you were telling me about this is the boss fights are very much kind of a rhythm game. Like
Mhm.
once you feel out their patterns and how they attack, when they retreat, and when they choose to use magic, and when's the best time for you to try and go in there.
Mhm.
You have to
Yep.
watch your stamina for rolls and dodges. It
Can't
gets
be
very
rolling too
crazy.
much. It
Like I
does.
said, if I find something that's a cheese, I'll cheese. I cheese Margit because he was whooping my ass repeatedly, and then I went to Kaled near one of the dragon places and
Mhm.
found a spirit summon with this like zombie dog. I think it's like wretched something, the zombie dog.
You got zombie
And
dogs?
yeah,
Oh, that's
there's a
different.
little
That's
weird
different.
spirit for a zombie dog, but he has the rot. So even
Oh.
if he gets killed, as long as he gets a few bites in, like 4 or 5 bites, and you go in and you attack along for the poison to take place,
Uh-huh.
the tick damage will just keep going. The
That
tick
is nice
damage,
cheese, right? That is
yeah,
some nice
kills him,
cheese,
and
right?
then it's basically you just staying away from him after a while.
Right.
Like
Wow.
get him down to halfway, release the zombie dog, and then get the hell away from his ass, because otherwise you're gonna get
Start
mollywopped.
running around the map.
Because as much
Wow.
you can't button mash in this game.
Hell no.
If you just
No.
run in button
No.
mash and try and roll, you're gonna get smacked up
You'll get
real
knocked
quick.
off a map.
Yeah, easily. Or roll off the map, or you
Yeah,
roll too
roll
long
up.
and
Right,
not be aware of your
exactly.
surroundings, which is funny. Um, and it's been part of my enjoyment because now I kind of have an understanding of what's going on when I
Mhm.
watch other streamers and YouTubers. Shout out to Afro Senju XL. Shout out to RDC World. They're hilarious. Corey Kenshin.
Oh yeah.
Watching them get frustrated, and they play these games all the time, has been hilarious, especially
Mhm.
with the commentary that they have over their gameplay. They're really funny, and you, like I said, you understand, especially when something that's been mollywopping you the whole time, you get to watch them get mollywopped live on stream. It's like, yep, I get it.
You're like, I'm not the only one who sucks over here.
Yeah,
Like,
I
no.
understand what they're going through, and you kind of share in that
Mhm.
elation when you see them finally beat them. And the other kind of controversy with this game is the story. For as famed as the creators behind it were, the big name they threw out there was George R. Martin. For those of you that know Game of
Oh yeah, yeah,
Thrones,
yeah.
he was supposed to be one of the main writers for the story and the background and the lore of this game. And it's there, but you kind of have to sift through a lot to get to it. And some
Yes, you
people are
do.
unsatisfied with that. Some people want it laid out more plainly as
Mhm.
they go through. And why this is prevalent to you and I is as creators ourselves. I've written a science fiction series, and I'm working on the second book of a fantasy series. Jordan has his own sci-fi series started with Eve of Insurrection comic, and he's working with me on the comic for the Umbani Chronicles. So we have opinions about story, and a lot of what I'm getting from YouTube and other creators is that people are not happy with how unobvious the story points are. It's kind of a mishmash of a bunch of
Mhm.
things. We're thrown a bunch of terms in the beginning of the game. We're told that we're
Tarnished.
tarnished
Yeah, which
and
I
we're
never paid
maidenless. Like we ain't got no women. Like
got
oh,
no women's, no
yeah,
women's
we ain't
for
got no
you.
women's. Like we're tarnished.
Mm-mm.
We're kind of this like undead warrior brought back to life,
Which
but
is always the case in, like, every game. You're, like, undead and you have to go get your soul back or something, like, it's always kinda that.
yeah. But it's not at least to some people, it's not as fleshed out as it could be. And some
Mm,
people don't want to go through the rigmarole of doing a Google search, going through lore videos to understand what's
right.
going on in the game that they're playing. They're used to other story-based games and want that more plainly laid out for them. What are your thoughts on it?
So, like, for me, like, I play the game. I don't really play the game for the lore because, like I said earlier, I've never really felt like the game had a, like, true story for you as the main character.
Okay.
And so, like, it's like I don't really have a real sense of my character's motivation. Like, it's not linear in that sense of, like, we're trying to guide you to this point, or like we have these story beats. Like, it's just not there for me. And George R. R. Martin, like, he contribute, like, you could tell, like, the world is kind of built up very well. Like, the
Okay.
world building's great. Like, George R. R. Martin was writing some things. And so, like, every side character has their own little narrative or world. Um, but for me, it's like it doesn't. For me, that doesn't connect with me, to be honest with you. Like, I have
Okay.
to sit down and play a type of game like it has to be very much linear, highly story driven and cinematic for me to like really get into it. Like, I like my campaign games, I like my single player games, but this to me doesn't have a story.
Okay.
It's just go around, you fight bosses, and then you have to get to the end and ascend to be the Elden Lord or whatever. Like, what does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, what's my stake in all this? I mean, the gameplay is enough. Like, I'm always dying. Like, it just there's no story to me. No story. Sorry.
Yeah. And it's kind of laid out that you're not the only you're not special, I don't think. You're
No,
trying
no,
to
you're
become
not.
that. It's made plain that there are
Mhm.
other tarnished because when you get to a point in the game, not really spoiler, but kind of a spoiler, but when you get to the round table,
Mhm.
you're kind of interviewed by the NPCs there. And even the one dude tells you, like, oh, you're just here temporarily. You're not the main dude, you're not the main girl, you're not the main person here. There are many others, and you have no rights to really be here. But we'll let you know after you go and really do something. Maybe we'll have a
Mhm.
permanent seat at the table for you. But you're not the only one. So there is no like you were saying a linear progression of this one character, except for the one that you create, which I think can be a good aspect if the story is the one that you make of it.
That's
And
also true. That is also
and
true.
RDC the world, he has some kind of crazy, goofy commentary where he's
Mhm.
actually making up story. I watched a stream of his the other day where he sees empty chairs and he starts making up stories. Oh yes, Cash Money Lord was here, and I remember sitting at the banquet, and I told all the other lord. He makes up this little story as he goes along, and that's kind of what you have to do because it's not
Mhm.
really laid out for you. There are side quests that each NPC can lay out for you, but that's really just you're following these story plots so you can go get this spell or this suit of armor
Or
or this
weapon, or this
weapon.
item to get you to get something else. Like, it's connected in that way, which is great for a gaming experience. We're like, all right, I have this item. Now, what
But
does
it
this
kind
unlock?
yeah, but kind of outward storytelling, I think it kind of lacks in that
Oh yeah.
aspect.
Oh yeah.
Now, as far as you being an artist, there's
Mhm.
also been controversy about this. What do you feel about the art style of the game?
There's
Yeah,
Wait,
some
I wanna hear
people,
the
are
controversy. No, no,
saying
no,
this.
no.
These
I wanna
I've
hear the
heard people say,
controversy. Tell me the controversy. I wanna hear what you've been hearing. Tell me. I
"Oh,
wanna
these
hear
are
this.
these are PS2 graphics, and it looks ugly." I'm like, to me, the game looks
Y'all are
really good.
bugging. They're
And
bugging. They are bugging.
stylistically, it may not be the most crisp, but I do like
What does it have to
the
be?
world, and some of the vistas are really pretty when you
Yeah,
stop
they
and
are.
look. When you're not getting mollywopped by some giant bear or giant or whatever
Or
comes
trolls,
across. If
giant
you have
trolls.
time to sit around and look around, what's presented. They
Right,
have
right,
some
right.
really nice landscapes that you can see. What are your feelings on the art and art style?
Art wise, I think that they do a good job of capturing the expansive nature of the world and the environments.
Mm,
So I mean, it's pretty consistent. Like this isn't PlayStation 3 Demon Souls or whatever. And so like the graphics continue to get better and better. And I can feel the depth when like staring out into like a vista, and looking at like the giant tree in the background, the Erd tree in the background or something. Um, and I always love what I love about this. Actually, I have a critique. What I do love about this series are the creature designs. Um, they always have their little rats. That's normal. Your little dog characters. But when we get to the bosses, things get wild.
okay.
We had my man's Godric. Godric, he's this kind of big dude with like these big arms. He's walking around. I think he doesn't have a staff. I don't know if he has a staff. He might have a hammer
Yeah.
on the first go around. And you fight him. Once you get to a second mode, he has like smaller arms grafted to him. And he has a story behind him as well.
Yeah.
And so he has all these like eight, it might have been 10 or 12 arms grafted to him. There's a lot of arms. And he starts going ham. I'm like, yo, this is ridiculous. And then he like takes part of a dragon and fuses it into his body. Like
Yeah. He chops his arm
it
off.
was what chops his arm, fuses it, like this is like it was wild. It was just wild. But like, and
Yeah.
I love it. Like they give you really good creature designs. They got these like I said earlier, they have these spider hand things that are just like 12, it's like two hands put together and they just crawl around
Yeah. I've seen them.
and just mess you up. But outside of that, I mean the graphics are really good. Now my problem with the game is the fact that we still don't have different black hair types. I was tempted to be like, I'm not buying another Souls game until they get this hair right. They had better hair. I'm positive they had better hair in the last games. And I'm like looking around like no fades. Oh, we can get bald. You can be bald. Um, there might be a close cut. It was literally like two options, but there were no hair for black people. It was the most
Yeah.
frustrating thing in the world. And that's what and this when this comes down to the situation where I was like, I'm gonna take note of this. But like this is a problem with like when you have like people outside of the black community like making games and like they don't consider our existence in this world. And like they've done there's plenty of other Japanese owned companies games, active American games that actually do diligence to at least throw the basic afro in there or some locks, some braids, some cornrows,
Some
and
twists and something.
something. They give us something. And this game was just like you can either be bald or you can have a close cut. Like it was upsetting. So
I think I picked the
what'd
hair
you pick?
shaved on the side with the dreadlocks like bound into a tie that
See,
hangs back.
that's what I have too. That was the see that I wouldn't even call that locks. That was me make believing they were locks, Rod. Like I'm gonna just believe these are locks because it looked like straight wispy hair to me. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, y'all messing up right now. But so that's real frustrating. The character creation screen in general is always a lot for me. I
Yeah.
don't like spending 3 hours building a character. I don't care. I just want to get in there
When we get to the
and start
game.
fighting. But you got
Plus the
people
fact
out
that you
here.
put stuff on. Once the
All right,
funny
you can
thing
cover your
was
face.
you cover everything up once you get a cool helmet, a cool set of armor, then all that time you spent building up the body and then tweaking this and tweaking that, and now you can't see none of it unless you take it all off. And it's like,
Yeah.
I got this
Unless
armor
you
for a
fighting
reason.
butt naked and you just fast and dodging everything.
What's that?
But
The is it the wretch? The Vagabond where you starting like a little diaper thing?
yeah.
The
Oh,
club?
that's
That's just
crazy. Yeah, that's
hilarious.
crazy. But yeah, and so that's kind of the annoying part, graphic art wise, is that you don't have enough diversity in hair types. So that pisses me off every time. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I settled with the same haircut that you got. I'm practically a witcher. My fiance was like, "You look like a black witcher." I was like, "Yes, I do. That was my goal, actually." So
Yeah. It's like that's what people have been saying online. Like I said, I've enjoyed
PS2 graphics.
my time with it. The story is enough for me because
Hmm.
I can kind of fill in the blanks, but I could see how somebody would be tired having to do a bunch of research to to find out exactly what's going on and why things are happening within the game. I guess they feel more immersed if they know why you should care, because that's
That's true.
then the achievement of surviving everything. People, I guess, may want more from their entertainment experience when playing a game like this, especially with all the stress you go through just getting whooped time and time again. Like, this has to make sense for somebody, so I could see that
This has
happening.
to mean something. What am I striving towards?
Yeah. I mean, I've enjoyed it.
Mhm.
It's been a good ride so far, but like I said, I've taken my time. And to some people, that's going to be boring because, like I said, when you guys aren't playing with me, I play by myself. I roll around and do things. I may dabble and try something. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
I know I'm probably going to get monkey stumped, but I'm gonna go over here and try and fight this boss by myself and see what happens. And then I'll, stick my hand in the door jamb and get my fingers crushed a few times. I'm like, oh, that's enough of that. I guess I'll call it a night. After getting that "you
Mhm.
died" screen about 15 to 20 times, like,
Yep.
"Oh, okay, I guess I'm done with that aspect," but at least I tried. I tried my hand at it first. That's why I was kinda really happy that I got through, um, Margit by
That's good.
myself.
That's
I'm
what's
gonna
up.
try, Godfrey by myself, or Godric, whatever his
Godric,
name
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. Get
Godric
ready.
the Grafted.
Summon, I assume she was black. Summon homegirl with you to fight. She has like
Yeah,
lightning and wind abilities. It's great. She helps
okay.
a lot. She helps a lot.
Yeah, it's been a joy to me, y'all. Only reason I got it was because you and Dylan were on it, and I was like, I'm gonna see what these fools are talking about. They
What
are
are they
so
even
pumped for this
talking
game.
about? Hold on,
Let me
hold on, hold on. Let's give the audience better perspective. My friend Dylan, he's an Uber fan. I am a quiet fan. This guy was sending us text messages saying, "Get ready, sign up for the beta or alpha test." I'm like, I don't care about that. It's
Not only
not
that,
that
he was saying if
serious.
you didn't use your beta key, give it to me so I can use it. You were getting emails and texts about that. I'm like,
Like, bro, like chill.
my boy
Like
was serious.
he's pressed. He's the Uber fan. I'm like, I'm the more chiller fan of the group.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be like, hey, you're missing out on a great thing. You ain't playing real video games, chump. Like it's it's not that serious.
yeah,
But
it's been enjoyable.
glad you're enjoying it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
if you're into RPGs and you don't mind a bit of punishment along with your RPG, and you enjoy a challenge, I can recommend it. If you know you lack patience, this is not the game
Don't
for
do it.
you. If you're not in the know with all the Dark Souls and Bloodborne games, it may not be for you, and that's okay. Um, those are my thoughts on it. Like I said, I'm a newbie and I'm enjoying it and having a good time playing it. And I'm gonna get through and get my build together and keep it going. Jordan, thank you again for talking through things with me. These various topics that we're kind of trying to break out. Don't forget to check out Trekkie and Beyond, a Star Trek
Yep.
podcast with Andre Rose Washington and Monique Pinkett. Yeah, live long and prosper.
Throw up gang signs
Check
over
them out
gang
on Anchor.
signs. Star
Check us out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, the Askari Cast, and all places where you can find podcasts. And we will talk to you all next time.
Peace.